Hello, GSU 1010. How are you?
Good.
One more time. How are you?
Good.
One more time. How are you?
Good.
There we go. There we go. I just want to say hello to everyone. My name is George Chip Greenidge. I'm the instructor for the GSU 1010 class at Georgia State University. And we've had a great semester as freshmen here at Georgia State. Yes, I did put you through a lot of work. We walked around this campus. We learned about many different people in the field of social sciences, but I'm gonna let you guys know that you guys are better students because of it. Today we're here to do our final presentation, and it's on Manuel's Tavern, Unpacking Manuel's Tavern, and it's about a historic site here in the Atlanta area. But we decided to do this just because we knew that CETO downstairs and also the Student Innovation Program were really working on this as a project to get more students involved in oral histories and learning about what are the amazing things that are going on in Atlanta. So today's the day, and guess what? You guys are one of the first sites at Georgia State to do this. So you guys should be very proud of your work. Give yourselves a round of applause. So before we go up and have you do your presentations, we're gonna meet the coordinator and the director of GSU 1010, who put this whole thing together and brought it on, and also brought me on. So I want you to say hello, Miss Anna. Miss Anna, say hello, everyone.
Just a quick blurb about GSU 1010. So obviously you've been through it. Congratulations, first semester of college done. So essentially what I do, I coordinate all of GSU 1010, scheduling the classes, instructors like Mr. Greenidge. And what we do, we offer this class to all first-year students, especially in the fall. If you are part of a freshman learning community, you will be a part of GSU 1010. We hope it's kind of built a community within your group here. We hope you've learned more about the university, because that's kind of the point, learning more about the university, the community that you're in here in Atlanta, especially with projects like this. So I'm really excited to learn more. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Great round of applause. Now, also, I just want to let you guys also know is that building community is hard here at Georgia State, as you guys know, because this is originally used to be a commuter school. So you guys, as you guys know, on the first day of class, I said, guess what? We're all going to sign up for group. And you're like, what? I don't want to do all that. I don't want to do all this. But you guys realize that these 25 students in this class have got your back. And you guys realize that. When you thought about an assignment you didn't do, reminders, all those different things, you guys found out that you guys have become a community. And I know that because I watched you guys over the last semester become that. So very proud of all of you. Let's just talk about what Manuel's Tavern is and the whole Unpacking project. Brother Spencer Roberts, will you give us a few words?
Sure. So I'll introduce you guys. You guys know the project. You've been seeing the project, but I'll do a little blurb. So Unpacking Manuel's Tavern is a project about Manuel's Tavern. In 2015, the tavern underwent a renovation, and prior to that, a team from Georgia State University and Emory went in and captured that space using laser scanning and photography that allowed us to sort of preserve the space as it was before that renovation. And if you've been there since then, and I know some of you have, you'll see that they've actually changed the space enough that now there's quite a bit of difference. There's new walls. There are walls that are now missing, and so the objects on the walls have changed and been moved and been modified. And so really this is an archive in a way that there really isn't a lot of archives like this. And so you're participating in creating some history and doing research about the archive, about the space, and adding to that knowledge by doing that research for us. So this is the Unpacking Manuel's live site. This is the production site. And so the work that you guys have been doing potentially will end up in this project site, depending on what we're looking for, and we'll talk to individual students about having their work made public in that space. But today we're going to be looking at this extra site that we built, which is the Learning Manuel's Tavern. So this is a space that we made that is essentially a complete mirror of the live site, the actual public site, but it allows us to create student accounts and do all sorts of interesting things that allow you guys to contribute and put all of your content up there, and it will stay live. All of your content will be there, public, whether or not it goes into the other site at all or not. And so you can see here, if I go to class projects, the GSU 1010 projects, the walls that you guys all contributed to are showing up there. And so this site is going to be live indefinitely. And so if you want to link to your stuff in the future, if you want to link to the essays that you created and show them in context, rather than just delivering them to somebody, the URLs will be live, and you can always link to those on your CV, or when you're talking to somebody, you can pull it up and show them the work you've done in context. So I think I'm just going to talk a little bit about procedure. So the plugin that we're using is not super happy with touch screens, so you can try to touch stuff on the wall as you're presenting, but if you want to just tell me which object you're going to pull up to talk about, I can run the machine from behind and just pull that individual item up. Cool? Any questions? All right.
Yep, thank you. Right before we go, I just want everyone to realize is that what you're going to practice before you start is you're going to say who you are. You're going to do your elevator speech. All right? So just don't go right into it and start tapping away. You're going to tell you who you are, your elevator speech, and then go into your 2 items. Everyone has 1 minute to go. You have 2 items, 30 seconds on each item. Okay? I also want to say hello to Brother Brennan Collins, also one of our directors as well as of the SIF program, back in from China. Good to see you. No, Japan, excuse me. Both, all right. And also our good, famous, friendly librarian who taught you everything that you know. Say hello to Miss Mandy. You guys remember Miss Mandy? Good. Thank you so much, okay? So we have a couple more students that just walked in the door. Give us 2 minutes so we can get you guys on the sheet, and then we'll start. We know who's going to be first? Okay. Give us 2 minutes. We got to get you guys' name on the sheet. All right, thanks.
We're doing 6?
I know.
All right, well, we're doing 6.
Okay, make sure you say your name first, all right? Look at the camera, and whoever's going first is supposed to be Brianna.
Right here. Okay, so my name is Brianna Warren. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State University, and I'm a biology major. The first item that I picked was the Lyndon Johnson plate. It's a portrait, a hand-painted portrait, and it's a match to the JFK plate. The reason why it relates to Manuel Tavern is because Manuel was very into politics, and he was very into the Democratic Party, and every time, and he would have the people from the Democratic Party that he really appreciated and liked on his wall. And the second one that I chose, it was a portrait of him and Dolly Malouf and his first son. The reason why that relates to Manuel Tavern is because Manuel is the one who owned and founded the bar, and his son is the one who eventually took over and helped to keep it family owned once he passed away.
I'm Jason Allwine. I'm a political science major, first year here. Obviously, we're at GSU 1010. I'm a member of the Panthers for Progress, a little org sync thingamajiggy. And my first object is this. Let's see if it works. This Herschel Walker signed picture. It's when he played for the Dallas Cowboys. Herschel Walker, as most of us know, was a football player, a pretty good football player. He played at UGA. He was selected, or at least on the ballot for top 5 on the voting class for the Heisman, all 3 of his years at UGA. He went to the UFL, played for the New Jersey Generals, then went to the Cowboys, kind of bounced around a little bit, got back to the Cowboys, and retired. My next item was the, can I click this list over here?
Is it in this wall?
Yeah, it's the Lebanese flag. Yeah. All right, yeah. This is my other item, and we had to choose a political item. And this is there it is, the Lebanese flag. It's a pennant. It shows the flag in a triangular form. Lebanon is a country in the Middle East. It's actually the smallest country in the Middle East. And right now there are little protests going on about Donald Trump's decision about Jerusalem. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm Lisa Arias. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State. I'm a psychology major and I'm from Douglasville, Georgia. For my first item, it's actually on this wall. I chose the Atlantis flame spinet. Just can't see it. It's, yeah, that one right here. And okay, so this one, they were a national hockey league. They were professional. They started in 1972 and ended in 1980 just because like they didn't have much support. And it was owned by Tom Cousins, and he named them after the burning of Atlanta during the Civil War, so that was my first one. My second one is not on this wall, it was on the other wall. But that one, I think it was labeled Man in Drag. And that one is basically a man, he's dressed in drag and he has makeup on, and they have him up on that wall. And I found it really, because we had to have a political item, so I wanted to relate that to LGBT community and their rights. And I wanted to do that because Manuel's Tavern is a democratic bar, so I just feel like, you know, Democrats are usually more in line with the LGBT community. So I just found that one to be special because there's not a lot of frames on the wall, and usually there's just like presidents and important people, so that's my second one.
Hi, I'm Chris Cook. I am a freshman here, and I am a film major. My first one, well, I'll just do this one first. For this one, it was a picture of two guys working in front of a train, and so I basically talked about Chinese and Irish immigrants working on the railways, working on like Transcontinental Railroad. And the reason I did that, especially going to my other item, is that I feel like bars in general really pay homage to working class, blue collar life, and so that's what I wanted my stories to reflect a lot. That's why, and my other piece, it was, yeah, right there actually. It's, oh, you're fine. I probably messed it up. Yeah, there we go. These two gentlemen, so most people might recognize the devil in this picture, but I'd rather focus on the man sitting at the bar because I feel like anyone sitting at a bar has a story to tell, and so I wanted my paper to also reflect that. That's why I wrote it more like a narrative, because even though I might have done a lot of injustices to this guy, I felt like romanticizing a little bit of hard blue collar labor, coming home at the end of the day, sitting down, having a goddamn drink is so much better than, yeah. So that was my stuff.
All right, I'm Jacob Trencher. I'm a political science major here at Georgia State. I'm from Newnan, Georgia. So my first item, can I get it? How do I zoom it out?
Which page is it on this wall?
Yeah, I have one on this wall and one on the other wall. So let's go to that Falcons pennant right here. Yeah. Okay, so this was the 1998 NFC Championship pennant that the Falcons won when they won the NFC Championship against the Minnesota Vikings. 27 in overtime. Go Falcons. What's interesting about this is that I'm sure when it was put up, it was, of course, as we all know, the Falcons most recently won to a Super Bowl this year. But up until that point, this was the Falcons' only Super Bowl visit. Big part of Atlanta culture. Atlanta not really known for having great sports teams, so this was really the pinnacle in their NFL history. Of course, went on to lose to the Denver Broncos in the 1999 Super Bowl. So that's this item. And then my other item is on the other wall. But it's this thing like sort of hiding behind the bike. Okay, so what this is two dudes having a nice little chat. It's kind of hard to pick up what's going on here, but if you zoom in a bit, you'll see that this guy, they both have badges that say the Democratic National Convention, and this guy right here is either probably someone from the Carter and Mondale campaign that happened that year. This was, I believe what I found was this was 1976, my bad. This would have been the first Democratic National Convention since the one in 72, which was the one Watergate, where Watergate happened. So this was a very interesting Democratic National Convention. Of course, Jimmy Carter was the only president to come from Georgia, so that's why this is relevant to Manuel's Tavern and Georgia. So,
Please, up front, anybody have any questions from the audience? All right, any two questions from the audience? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm Kira Urquhart Foster. I'm a biology major here, and I'm from Swanee, Georgia, and I'm obviously a freshman. So my first item was on the northwest wall. Oh, it's a picture of Churchill. Okay, so obviously everyone knows, or I hope everyone knows who Winston Churchill is, but I just think he's really cool because he's Winston Churchill. So He was the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He was born there. He was also a member of Parliament there. He did a lot of things, but he even won like the Nobel Prize in Literature. And there was even a poll like after his death. He was known to be one of the greatest Britons. So there's that one. And then you can zoom out. It's on the same wall. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, and then of course I had to do Evel Knievel because I just think he's really cool. So he's known for doing death-defying stunts. He was born in Montana, and he did things like jumping the Grand Canyon and just crazy things. He had the world record for most broken bones. It was like over 400 or something crazy. And he actually didn't die from one of his stunts, which is crazy, but he did things from like motorcycle stunts to shooting himself across canyons and rockets. So that was Evel Knievel.
On the front for any questions from the audience. I think we're going to get 2 for each group. So please, everyone up front. 2 questions from the audience. You know, you can't leave without 2 questions from the audience. Anything
Mira.
about Emmanuel's camera in general or anything, please.
I was going to ask the relevance of this church Tavern.
I mean, it was just a political figure. He was actually conservative, so it wasn't necessarily a democratic thing, but he's just a very big figure, I guess.
We got one more question. Literally about anything.
She's on a roll.
What do you guys think about this project? Do you like it or not?
I think it was, I mean, I don't know if I speak for everyone, but I thought it was at least interesting to kind of look at a piece of Atlanta history and pick one specific item and kind of be able to talk about that.
I got to use my information on the 1998 NFC Championship game, which is again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maddie, Fabian, Foster, and Patel. Anybody else? There?
You said their name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You guys know what teams you guys are.
Well, I mean, there's not many people.
I think you're.
I did the Jimmy Carter picture.
Start again. You got to say who you are.
Oh
Do you know
yeah.
who speak?
My name is Fabian. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State. I'm a psychology major. I did mine on Jimmy Carter because you know he was the only president who came out of Georgia, and this is a picture of him with Manuel Malouf, and it's also signed by Jimmy Carter. Another thing that was relevant about it is that he actually launched his campaign for governor of Georgia from within Manuel's Tavern. I found that online, and yeah, that was pretty much it for that one. And my second one was a picture of Manuel Malouf in front of the Clydesdale mural. I don't know which wall. This is another picture of Manuel Malouf, and I think that it was around the time when he was trying to run for DeKalb County Board of Commissioner, and he did not win his first campaign, but he went on to win his second one, I think, and it just shows that he was always involved in politics, and that's probably why there were so many political figures who went to the bar around the time.
Okay, I'm Diavion Foster. I'm a political science major here, and I'm from New Jersey. The main diner. No, the bar. The FDR one right here.
Two FDR ones. That one?
Yes.
Okay.
Shows FDR. 32nd president of our country. He was important in instilling many welfare programs available to us. He had the New Deal, the first New Deal, and out of those two came Social Security that many people are on today. The second one is on level 2 Northwest. Goose Island. Goose Island is a brewery. They're famous for making beer. They came out of Chicago, Illinois, and was founded by John Hall. It was actually purchased by Budweiser recently, and they're known for making beer, but they also produce soda products as well.
I'm Michaela Farrington. I'm a freshman here. I'm a sociology major, and I'm from Fayetteville, Georgia. I don't know. I think I pretty much messed this project up, but I did choose 2 photos. They were on the other wall, the main far wall, I think. Yeah. I did mess it up, but I chose the portrait of JFK, and I chose the one of his family, like with his wife and his son, but it doesn't matter.
You can point at.
Okay, I'll do JFK. Yeah, this isn't mine, of course, but yeah. So, I mean, I know because I did it, but I don't think it really like uploaded right. So I'm just gonna talk about it. JFK, he was one of the presidents of the United States. I think Manuel, he did admire him a lot because of his political views. He's a Democrat. They said that during his funeral, he closed the bar down and he sat and watched his bar alone, I guess. That was just one of his favorite presidents. Then I did the portrait with him and his wife and his son. I liked it because when I read up on the bar, they said it was more like a community center. It felt like really close-knit and personal. So I think, and I actually admire that he put like a family portrait up to show like this is, it's like, I think it's the bar and the wall is like a collage of pretty much like everything that's personal to him, anything he liked, and was interested in. So I thought the portrait was a nice touch.
Okay, so I'm Pooja Patel. I'm a freshman at Georgia State. I'm a political science major. I'm from Albany, Georgia. So I have a little problem. Her picture of John F. Kennedy and mine are the same. So I'm not really going to go into it because she basically said what I was going to say. But the portrait of John F. Kennedy, he's portrayed as someone that's very presidential. Looks very great. Yeah, Manuel really did like him a lot because I was really intrigued and I was really fascinated whenever I found out that as soon as he was sworn to presidency, he put the picture up, and then after he found out that he was assassinated, he locked up the bar and sat there drinking beers and opening cans of beer and just sitting there drinking and he wouldn't let anyone else near him. He just wanted to be alone, and all his friends were trying to talk to him, it's okay, it happens or something. Well, yeah. And he was just no, I want to be alone. So I just thought that was really interesting. But yeah. And my other one is on the main dining wall, the right side, I think. It's the picture of, that one. Of the picture of the dogs. Yeah. Okay. So I picked that one because it's really cute because they're dogs and stuff. But I thought it was really cute because, and really relatable to Manuel's Tavern because it's it's a bar, people go there to drink and stuff, and there's portraying dogs and having a blast, with their friends. But what I thought was really cool about this is that they actually use this from brewers and bottles. It was the first company that actually kind of promoted drinking it, and it was the biggest brewing company, and I think, Pottsville. So I thought it was really cool. And fun fact is that they still use, not still use, but they still have this painting or this picture up in their office, wherever it is. So I just thought it was really cool. Yeah. That's it.
Okay, so my name is Maxim. I'm a Law and Society major, and my first picture is on the bar. It's the Hawks pennant. So yeah, well, I picked that one because obviously it's an Atlanta sports team, and well, the origins of the Hawks basically they're from originally from Illinois, but then they moved to St. Louis in 1958, and I think the year after that they won their first and only NBA championship. And historically they're not really good, as we all know. I mean, Atlanta sports teams aren't really that good, and they moved from the Omni Center to the Phillips Arena in 1999, and then currently they're remodeling it for like $500 million or something like that, an investment to like make it new age and stuff like that. And then the other image I did was on the northwest wall about Bill Clinton. So obviously everybody knows Bill Clinton, a Democratic candidate. He was a two-time governor of Arkansas. He went to Oxford, Georgetown, and Yale. And so I just picked this because it has significance because, Emmanuel's Tavern is related to like Democratic people and candidates and whatsoever. So that's basically it.
Hello, my name is Miro Georgiev. I'm a journalism major, and I'm originally from Bulgaria, but have lived in Lilburn, Stone Mountain, that area since I was 8. So my first picture that I picked was a photographic portrait of Jimmy Carter sitting outside, I think, in some park or garden or whatever. I'm not sure what wall it is. I can't quite remember. So if anyone can find it.
I have no idea.
Just talk about it.
You don't know? Okay.
Remember what the wall looks like? 'Cause we do have pictures of the wall.
I mean, it's like it's a signed portrait to my dear friend Manny Maloof, signed Jimmy Carter. And what I know about Jimmy Carter is he's the first and only president of the United States to have been born and raised in the state of Georgia. Before he was president of the United States, he was governor of Georgia, and he was, from what I can gather, a frequent patron of the bar, considering it's kind of strange for a politician to say to my dear friend X unless they actually are friends with that person. And another thing that's kind of famous about him is he's very well known for his environmental record, but that kind of destroyed his chances at a second term in office, and so he is the last Democratic president of the United States to have served just one term in office, as opposed to the now regular 2 terms. And additionally, he's kind of known for his very mixed record in foreign policy. The Camp David Accords concerning Israel and Egypt, on the one hand, is like his high point in foreign policy, and then his low point in foreign policy is the Iranian hostage crisis. And then another picture that I picked was this photo of some guy saying, "Hail, you jerks," at Manuel's Tavern. And he's like, the background is the Great Wall of China, so apparently he visited the Great Wall of China. I couldn't really find out anything about this guy. I just found it really interesting that some guy all the way in China thought, oh, why don't I just take a picture of myself holding a sign to the bar that I go to. So yeah, those were my 2 photos that I picked.
Okay, all together, all up. We have 2 questions from the audience.
And if whoever's answering the questions up here, like, repeat the question.
Anybody, 2 questions. Go for it.
No questions.
He asked what made me choose the JFK portrait. I don't know. He has a lot of Democratic figures in his bar, but JFK was one of the most popular presidents. It was sad how he died, but I wouldn't. I think his admiration for JFK was it's pretty shown. Like the portrait is pretty big and it's in the center, so I just picked it. And then as I was researching on it, I realized like he actually like admired his political views and him. So that's why I chose it.
Maxim, you had the picture of Bill Clinton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find out who the other two people were?
Oh, the other one was Manuel Malouf, and I think the other one.
Oh yeah. I was thinking let that guy in the middle.
Thank you. Ready? You have to go up to the front, say who you are, and go for it.
I'm gonna go first because I did it on the wrong walls, both of them on different walls. So my first one was on the south wall right side, and it was a sketch of JFK. Maybe.
Is it at the corner?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it that left painting?
What? No, it was like a sketch. It's right there. It's this one. But they have my contribution on the other portrait, on the other wall, I guess. But that's a sketch. And so I chose this sketch because I think it was like really somber. I guess it kind of like caught my attention. And JFK was like the first like Catholic president voted in office. He was a Democrat. He was also the youngest president ever voted into office. A lot of people, like, he was really popular here at home and abroad, and a lot of people contribute that to his good looks, really, because he was so young and everyone liked him. And so, yeah, unfortunately he was assassinated, and I just thought that this sketch was really, like, it aged him, like, really well, and I think that it was a really good representation of what, like, a presidency can do to you. And unfortunately, like, he was assassinated, so it just added to, like, that somber, like, tone that it had. I also picked the boar's head, which was on the south wall of main dining.
If you could step a little bit closer to the object you presented.
Okay, yeah, that one. So, okay.
This is giving me flashbacks to Lord of the Flies.
Were you there? So yeah, I picked this one because I thought it was funny. It was pretty interesting. So I really did more research into what a boar's means in Celtic, the Celtic culture. Boar, if you're served boar's meat, it means you're like an honored guest, and it means hospitality. So I thought that was really interesting because Manuel's Tavern is really a place where you can everyone is welcome. You can go in, have a drink, have a good time, and I think that the symbol of the boar's head is a really good representation of what the atmosphere represents. And it's pretty quirky, so.
Hey, so I'm Madison St. John. I'm a history major, and I made a mistake doing these, but that's fine. I also did the LBJ plate on the main dining hall. So yeah, you guys already know about him, but he was the 36th president and 37th vice president under JFK. He assumed the role of president, obviously, when JFK was assassinated, as he did. And he was a champion for the civil rights movement. He signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and then created the Great Society, which had its perks, had its downfalls too, wasn't that great? But, for my other item, I did the Agnes Scott pendant. That's not too far from there. Yes. So Agnes Scott is a private liberal arts school. It's for women only. It was founded in 1889 in Decatur, Georgia. And it's had a long history of kind of just being a small school, kind of secluded. And the current president right now is Elizabeth Kiss. And yeah, that's Agnes Scott.
Hey guys, my name is Joseph. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State. I'm a computer science major. And my first one, I'll do the Josh Smith bobblehead. Yeah, so that's Josh Smith. He's a basketball player. He played for the Hawks for a long time. I mean, he's not really like a superstar. He's a role player. He basically, he came straight out of high school to the league. He went to McKeecher and I went there too. So, I mean, that's cool. But yeah, he played for the Hawks for a little bit. He was like their star player, which kind of says something because he wasn't that good. But yeah, he bounced around a little bit, and he played for the Pelicans most recently after coming back. He played in China and Israel, and he got dropped in November. He doesn't really play anywhere right now. But yeah, I really like basketball, so I thought it was cool. And it's he played for the Hawks, so Atlanta Bar kind of went hand in hand. And my other one was I don't know if it's on there, the Saddam Hussein picture. So yeah, it was like behind a lamp, and it was kind of hidden away, so nobody else had it, so I was able to pick it. Basically, if you don't know who he was an Iraqi president, and there's like a circle and a cross through him, because basically, like early 2000s, I guess, the Bush administration, they invaded Iraq because they suspected that there were like nuclear weapons and stuff. They didn't find any, but eventually he was captured and he was hung and killed. And there's a cross through him, so I guess it's like shows patriotism and nationalism. And yeah, so I thought that went hand in hand with Manuel's Tavern, which is like more of a political bar. So that's why I picked them.
Two questions, please.
Anybody has questions? You said when? He got drafted in 04, I think, and then played for them until 2013, I think. Played for the Pistons. I think he did for a little bit. He played for a lot of different teams. Like, he got traded and waived, and then signed, and then waived again, stuff like that.
More questions, please?
Those two. I think those two.
One more.
All right, third question.
Madison,
Yeah.
do you like Agnes Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, we have our final groups. Please, all you leftovers, come to the end and get up. Let's do the butter presentation. You're just a bunch of butter. We need you close to the.
Yeah, while you're
I guess I'll go first.
make sure to stand next to the object.
All right, my name is Cameron Brown. I'm from Snellville, Georgia. I'm a bio major here at Georgia State. One of the items I did was the Thrasher pennant. It's like right there, actually. Yeah. So basically, I mean, it's pretty significant. It's basically like every other pennant on here. So basically, Atlanta didn't have a franchise when hockey first started, probably like around 1996. So they just created the Thrashers, and that's basically what it was. And then my second item was I did a Confederate $100 bill. I think that's like on the south wall on the right side or something like that. Click right there. No, the one in the middle. Yeah, right there. Click that. Zoom out. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah, basically. Oh, you want to? Kind of cover the information. All right. So basically, yeah, this is just a Confederate $100 bill. Honestly, this currency wasn't really worth, it's worth double what it was back then. But back then, basically it was just like an IOU. Wasn't really currency at all. But yeah, now you can get it for like $200 on eBay. So there you go. Pretty much nothing really else to it. Confederate currency. So
Hey guys, my name is Michael Din. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State. I am studying computer science. So my first photo is on Bar North. I chose the UGA pennant. So in 1976, we won SEC championships. The great thing about Georgia, the Bulldogs, is that they weren't called the Bulldogs until the year 1920. That's when they were coined the name and everybody started using it. Some other information about the Bulldogs is that they have 15 conference championships. So 1976 was one, and then we just won one, so let's go Bulldogs. Level 2 Northwest Mall, my second photo was the Harry Truman photo. Now, Harry Truman was the 33rd president. He came into term after Roosevelt had died in his second term. He was the vice president, and after Roosevelt died, after 3 months of being elected, he became the president. Truman ran for 2 terms, and one interesting fact about him was that although he grew up in Missouri, where like segregation was really popular, he was actually pushing for civil rights. So it's a fun fact. Thank
Hello, my name is Victor Pacheco. I'm a freshman here. I'm actually born in Ecuador, but I came from Woodstock, Georgia. Not a freshman, I think I already said that, but I'm doing a political science major. For the first picture, I choose the main bar, I believe. Yes, the JFK plate. Oh, you got it. You had it. There you go. Well, as pretty much everybody here said already, JFK was very, important for Manuel's Tavern because they really like him and really like his policies and stuff like that. So they had a huge, they just like him. So just so you know, well, a lot of you guys know, or should at least know, he's the 35th president of the United States. He was assassinated in 1973, and he was born in 63. Sorry, and he was born in 1917. Yes, 1917. Just like a couple of things, for example, that I learned in my research, it was that JFK actually used to have a lot of painkillers for his back, and he actually used a lot of drugs. Their nurses says that he used to do like 8 or 9 painkillers a day, which was a lot actually. And so also they say that JFK actually went into the political career because of his older brother. When he died, he actually got into it. And also his family is also very known because they're rich, were very wealth. His entire family, his dad, his brothers, everyone was into the political fields. So that was pretty interesting as well. And then for the second one, I did Northwest. I think it's the name of the bar. Yes, Northwest. That guy, that one right there. It's actually I really like the picture. Honestly, if I had the chance, I would put that on my bedroom. I'm not even kidding. But what it's talking about in that picture, it's a guy. I don't remember the actual name. Oh, Joe Meyer. He was born in Germany. He was born. I remember Wittenberg, Germany. He was an artist. Well, yeah, he was an artist. Since he was a kid, he kind of knew that he liked, to paint and stuff like that, art in general. And so even though that he actually didn't have one of his eyes wasn't, he was blind in one of his eyes. So he still was pretty known for his paints. And as he grew up, all his paints got to be really good, and he started selling them, and he actually paid his tuition, his living costs, and everything just by his paintings. His paintings. He moved to Atlanta. He moved to the U.S. I don't think I put the date. He moved to the U.S. Was actually in New York. He grew up his career over there, and then he moved to Atlanta, and then he got married in here. He actually started painting a lot of famous artists like governors and stuff like that from Georgia, and his paintings are still in the mansion of the governor and on the state building. I think I don't remember which one. I think it's the state building. So then actually as he was getting older, he was getting very sick and he got very weak. Actually, he lost his sight. He was blind. He was actually blind. And his kid, his son, will actually walk him around. And at some point, actually, he had a heart attack, and then he told his kid to, get some help. But it was actually because he wanted to be alone. He actually shot himself, and yes, so it was very sad. So, but yeah, so that's the other guy.
Hi, my name is Nafis Hoke. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State. I'm a computer science major, and my first item that I chose was the Hubert Humphrey portrait. I think it was in the north wall. Hubert Humphrey was the 38th Vice President of the United States. He served under President Lyndon B. Johnson, and he was like a very important liberal figure in the 1960s because he fought for civil rights, which weren't really focused on then by presidents, and he also pushed for important movements, important bills like the Food Stamp Act that helped millions of Americans. And later in his life, he tried to run for president again, but he failed. He lost against, I don't know who he lost against. Nixon, yeah. Lost against Nixon, like very narrowly. And in his later life, he was interested in education, so he started teaching at a college, at Malachester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. And my second item that I chose was the picture of a man holding glasses. I couldn't find any historical context on this, but I don't know who the man is, but he seems like a very interesting man. He's just going about his day holding his glasses, and he's doing something simple as just holding his glasses and thinking about life. That's about it.
Hi, I'm Shanila Blakeney. I'm a freshman here at Georgia State, and I'm a psychology major. I did the main bar north, and it's an FDR photo. No, not that one.
It says your name on it. Oh.
But I didn't do that one. Yeah, it's another pic. Well, it wasn't that one. That was a different one. But anyways, he was the 32nd president. He ended up doing 4 terms, which is like he's the only president that has actually done that. And he got married to Eleanor. They were married for like the whole time he was president. He has 4 sons. Basically, he was very known as a political figure in America. Basically, he started his New Deal, and he was the president during the Great Depression, and the Great Depression and World War II. And he was during his first 100 days, he made the New Deal, which was supposed to help America come out of the Great Depression, I guess. And then he ended up getting polio, which left him in a wheelchair most of his life. And he was loved by many in America and could never be forgotten. Okay. My second photo is the main bar south. I don't think that was the right wall though. And it was a World War II aircraft photo. Okay. That's not the right photo either, but basically World War II was like a time of like immersed technology. Everything was like advancing. Basically, America didn't really start using their aircraft until after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which basically forced them to like go into action. And they were like coming up with different like blueprints and different types of aircraft weapons, which advanced them into the war. And the technology was very developed rapidly. Due to these advancements, they changed the direction of the war, which led them to create one of the best airplanes during this time. And that was about it, I guess. So.
2 questions, please.
Oh. Yeah, what's up?
Have you thought about going to Manuel's Tavern and asking to buy that sign?
I actually did for a second when I was actually doing the research paper, but I don't know if they're gonna sell it to me because I'm pretty sure it's important for that guy. So, but I really would buy it. I swear, I really would buy it. I really would. So, yeah.
No more questions? Just one more, you know.
One more question. You guys know how I do.
Do you guys think that bike is cool?
Sure.
I think I think if that fails in somebody, like in somebody's head, that
I don't get
probably
why the
could
front
be
wheel is
pretty
smaller.
bad. I think it's just optical illusion.
Cool. It has a little bottle holders and stuff.
I think I will use it sometimes.
Stay
maybe.
right here, please. Everyone, good job. Good job. Give it up. Stay right here for a minute. Professor Brennan Collins, would you like to come up? Just you were one of the thought leaders of this, so I wanted you to just give us a little bit right in front of everybody, right here, just for a few minutes. I'll put you on the spot of just what did you think, man? Go ahead.
Well, so we did this project. There was an artist, a photographer and film artist who had this idea because she came to Manuel's and people were very upset because of the renovation. Atlanta, if you know much about Atlanta, is probably most known for its traffic and its just constant tearing down of everything. We tear down everything and rebuild, tear down everything, rebuild. And so Manuel's Tavern was this place that was extremely important to a lot of people over a long period of time. And people thought that it was just going to be torn down. It wasn't going to be torn down, but just with any sort of renovation, people were scared. And so that became this project, but core to the idea was to get students involved with this and to have students play a role in curating what would become the project, which is growing and will continue to grow for the next few years. And so I'm just hoping that in some way this has connected you to Atlanta, you've learned something about Atlanta, and I don't know, so like, did you feel like, I know something about where I live now? Like, anyone have a good example of that was just really striking to them of what they got out of doing this project? What'd you get out of it? What?
Well, I used to live in the County, and knowing that I never knew, so it's like eye-opener. I want to go with this because I never knew this thing.
Yeah, it's one of the older, and other cities you'll go and there'll be a bar that's been there for 200 years. Atlanta, 50 years is a big deal. So yeah, and it's there, and you can eat there. And when you're of age, you can
Chris.
I mean, I've been living here in the U.S. for 3 years now. I actually came here for Florida, but I've been living pretty much the entire life. I've been here in the U.S. here in Atlanta, and it's actually kind of cool to know a little about the history of Atlanta because especially I'm always on the ground to know more stuff and know more things about. Just not just in Georgia, but actually in the U.S. entirely. So having a bar that actually has all this information and all these pictures of important people, important places, important things that happen here or that are going on here, it's actually pretty cool because it lets you learn not by school, but by somewhere else, which is doesn't put the pressure on you as a school sometimes does. And I mean, even when I was doing the paper, I was actually on my computer and my parents were asking me, what was I doing? And I told them about it. And they were actually like, oh yeah, we should go someday, sometime to see what's up, And so, that's actually kind of cool because it kind of, gives you an idea of things that are happening in Atlanta, so.
Well, and I think, in your classes, you're freshmen, you're going to be taking, 4 years of classes. You're going to be taking history classes, political science classes. Sounds like a lot of political science majors. We often learn about things that seem very distant. You talk about presidents or you talk about these major historical events. But really, it's surrounding you constantly. And if you can connect the things that you're learning in your classes, these larger historical moments or political moments or whatever, it's surrounding you constantly, and it feels much more meaningful if you can think about, this isn't just some distant thing. That guy ate a hot dog at Manuel's, every month, which Jimmy Carter, anytime he comes to Atlanta, and he was, the most powerful man in the world. So you're surrounded by these things, and you should kind of think about as you're taking classes, like, how is this connected to the places I'm walking in every day?
We had 2 students that actually went to Manuel's Tavern, all right? Which one was you and also yourself? So I got to see the place naturally.
Oh, yeah. I remember y'all at the event.
And anyone remember there was a sandwich called the Donald? Did anyone remember what that was about? Who remembers? Stand up. You know me, I'm going to put you on the spot. Stand up and talk about it. Turn around.
It was a white bread sandwich with Russian meat, and they had like a small pickle and some chips.
And what was that? What was that about?
They were pretty much calling out Donald Trump.
And I think Manuel's Tavern got a lot of different flack from community members and so forth around it. So it's just really interesting, just the thing that this place has done and so forth. All right. So I just want to give it up, everyone. Good job. Write that down. Okay. We also have Professor Maltese is here. I just want to say a couple just hello words as someone that has studied students in college and so forth, and we have a bunch of freshmen here. Just a couple words of what you think about just here at Georgia State as well. Someone studied Georgia State as well.
Actually, thank you. It's a great job. You guys should give your professor, a huge round of applause in terms of what he has done with this project and for you guys. I think this is one of the few times that I've seen, a bar serve as the basis of a history lesson, especially from a world history standpoint. So that's awesome, and it's a great project. I grew up here in Atlanta. Actually, I've known the Tavern as an institution. We used to call it Maloof's, just because of the last name and everything. So that's kind of, I was like, Manuel's, man. Yeah, because 2 brothers actually who own the bar, but it's a great resource. We hope that you guys have had a great GSU 1010 experience. It's good to know that it's cranking along with Anna and everyone, and so thank you guys for doing this, and I hope that you've had a great, successful, and very prosperous first semester in college. Okay. 1 down, 7 to go. 7-ish to go. Thank you.
Great job. You guys really did a good job. You guys just blew me away. And I'm just like, you guys know I'd be like, it's not good and all the other stuff. You guys did a really good job. So give you guys a round of applause.